Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to put a loving spotlight on a global organization called IWF. It's been around for 51 years, and the Dallas chapter is celebrating 35 years. You'll meet two of the driving forces behind it next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, one of the reasons I love DFW is it's the home of all networking groups, but I've seen networking groups come and go. They die for a lack of interest. The membership drifts away. And of course, during COVID, a lot of these networking groups had trouble because they couldn't meet in person. But one group that has survived all of this is in the studio right now, two of the driving forces behind IWF Dallas, Dr. Sydney Smith Hicks, she's the co-founder, and Dr. Cynthia Mickens Ross, she is the president. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting us.
Well, I want people to understand the power of this organization. It's been around for 51 years. Why don't we start with you, Dr. Hicks? You were one of the co-founders of the chapter when it started in 1990 in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the reputation of the global organization.
Well, actually, Kay Bailey Hutchison and Linda Hart knew several of the members in New York and Washington, because Kay had Washington contacts back then too. And so Kay brought us together first in her living room and said we needed to start a Texas chapter. At that point, the organization's philosophy was to have a one organization per state. Mm. And what the national organization did not understand was how big Texas is. And you just don't go to San Antonio for lunch.
Yes.
We're all too busy to do that. And that's like driving from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. You don't do that either for lunch.
Yes.
And so once they understood, and California was coming up too. They had San Francisco and they had an LA. So they understood California, but they did not understand Texas. And so, we taught them. And so then we broke into our IWF Dallas organization.
And Dr. Ross, I want to talk about the movers and shakers that are in IWF Dallas. I mean, these are powerful women. It's a invitation-only organization. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeff, the International Women's Forum Dallas chapter is made up of the top executive women in this city. And these are women who we call the preeminent. I mean, they are at the top of their games. They're making the decisions that are changing the way our companies are going, the directions. And so when we look at IWF, and we look at the Dallas chapter, you're looking at the women who are making a difference in this city. They're changing lives and changing companies.
I love it. We're going to put the website on the screen because you have a nice slider at the very top of the website that shows some of the beautiful ladies who are members of this organization. Keeping with you, Dr. Ross, when you joined, I guess it was just a few years ago, 2022, what was it that attracted you to this organization?
Well, you know, Jeff, to be completely honest, I didn't know anything about the International Women's Forum and definitely not the Dallas chapter. And it was a telephone call from former State Representative Helen Giddings that said to me, she said, Cynthia, I think there's an organization that you should definitely be a part of. I think you will bring some great assets to the table, as well as reap benefits from this organization, meeting these amazing women. And so when I did my research, I was absolutely humbled by the fact that she thought that I would be a fit for such an amazing organization. And so once I was in and I started to build those relationships, I thought IWF was one of the best kept secrets. And I thought, that's not what we really want to be, right? And so we started really getting the word out to even more women about the opportunity to join our organization.
More on the vibrant Dallas chapter in a minute. We found a great video that the global organization made about a year ago to celebrate the 50th. Let's go ahead and roll that.
IWF members are game changers. The Women's Forum was founded in New York City in 1974, when it was really a lot of the first generation of women coming into the executive ranks. They were trailblazers, they were thought leaders, they were pioneers. Now, in the last nearly 50 years, the position of women in almost every profession has changed a lot, but the challenges are still there.
IWF is helping us to skill up better. It's helping us over the course of our lives to achieve things that we possibly wouldn't even have tried had it not been for the inspiration of some of the other pioneers and founders that have preceded us.
I think IWF did something early on that a lot of the women's organizations didn't recognize, and that was the nature and the importance of being international.
There aren't that many organizations that can claim to be truly international. So the I in International Women is really a big I.
It's a strong voice that we need to hear in the world.
It turned into a sisterhood of extraordinary people.
We might speak different languages, and we might be different races, we might be different religions, but they're core things to us as women that we really need to talk about and to help one another in, and IWF gives me that opportunity.
I think that we have a duty as women leaders to bring up and forward and help the next generation of leaders.
We've learned about how we can extend ourselves to younger women in the world and encourage them and build a network for them.
The best education and the best help we can give the next generation is sharing our stories.
It is so powerful to see the reaction of these young women who are blown away by the level of achievement, the level of influence that these women have, and also the relatability.
It's not that you're women artists or women astronauts or women lawyers or whatever. Women come together in their purest sense as women. Women who have achieved, but realize that we are sisters.
IWF is there both in the moments when you don't need it, but really in the moments when you do, and you find that you've got your friends that you've built over time who've known you through those different transitions you've made in your life.
I have to say, it was one of the best yeses I've ever said in my life.
I just feel, oh my God, I am surrounded by all these champions in life, and that's very inspiring.
The idea of women inspiring other women never gets old. There are challenges that we all face uniquely because we're women. There are opportunities to help each other that are unique because we're women. And I think that that's always going to be the enduring value that will be out there as a platform for IWF now and for many, many years to come.
Dr. Hicks, it has to be incredibly rewarding to see the next generation coming in, because you have new members coming in all the time, don't you?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And it is. It's wonderful to see them succeed. And really, our organization is one that enables other people's agendas. Mm-hmm. I mean, we don't fundraise for ourselves for the most part, other than for leadership programs for younger women. But we facilitate others, and our experiences help others succeed. And it's a wonderful opportunity to partake in.
Dr. Ross, back to you. We're going to show some video while we're talking. When we say global, it is global, and you've had a chance to go to some of these global networking opportunities. Describe what it's like when you meet a woman from another country.
Well, Jeff, I'm happy to share my first experience. And I was at a table. We were having some of our workshops, and this woman came and sat next to me. And I believe she was like a prime minister of a country. And I thought, now it's going to be a little bit of a barrier for me to start a conversation with her. And it was absolutely not that.
Wow.
I mean, it was like I had been knowing her for years. And that's the great part about, or one of the great parts about IWF, is that you meet women from all over the world, and it's like you've been knowing them for years instantly. There are no barriers. Nobody is putting on any pretentiousness, or there's not the room for I'm better, or I'm a higher achiever than you.
Right.
We're all on the same level, helping each other, encouraging each other, inspiring each other. So, you know, there's some groups of women and organizations where you feel like you got to fight your way to the top, or, you know, you've got to go through approval to get to talk to a certain person.
Sure.
Not like that in IWF. We're all sisters, and we're all here for each other. And I believe that sets us apart as well. Not just having those global connections, but that they're real connections.
Yes. Dr. Hicks, I love the old expression, lift as you climb. And because of that spirit within the organization, these women really end up becoming mentors and mentees of each other, don't they?
And it doesn't really change depending on what your age is. So leadership is a real phenomena, and you can be a leader in your 70s, you can be a leader in your 20s. You have a lot in common if you're a leader. You know, that's the trick. And that all of our organizations have the same criteria for membership. So that's what facilitates the getting together at a table where you know no one, and all of a sudden the whole table's erupting in this discussion or that discussion. Yeah.
Famously, the Gen Zs are called a texting generation and not a talking generation. But I love the old expression, you got to circulate to percolate. Talk about why young ladies need to think about applying or getting a nomination to be a member.
Well, leaders don't just look at their phones. I'm sorry. I don't think they do. You listen. Because if you're talking, you're not learning. And so you listen a lot, and you can't listen and be on your phone and concentrate. And it's the ultimate, if you're being on the phone and you're trying to have a conversation, it's really, in my view, not polite.
Yes.
Because you're not focused and listening.
We have about 2 minutes left, and you have a big event coming up. Do you want to address that?
Yes, thank you so much. So the Dallas chapter of the International Women's Forum is celebrating its 35th anniversary on March the 31st at the Dallas Country Club. So it's an opportunity for all of our founders to come back, our past presidents. But another great part of this event is the fact that we're raising money to send 2 up-and-coming women from the Dallas community to go through the International Women's Forum Fellows Leadership Program. Now, if I had an opportunity to go through a world-class leadership program where these women are going to study at Harvard, they're going to Cambridge, and they are going to hear from some amazing thought leaders and learn some leadership techniques that I believe will propel them in their career. And so this is absolutely amazing. And it's the first time that we've ever done this. And so we want women in our community to know that we want to support you in your goals as a leader. And so if you would like to apply, you can just email us at info@iwfdallas.org. That's info@iwf.org. We want to get to know you.
Outstanding. Well, why don't we have Dr. Hicks give us the final thought? What would you like to leave people with?
It's important to found an organization on strong principles. And it is why we've survived COVID and other things. And there's no question that this organization, in my opinion, is going to be with us for a very long time. And I'm thrilled about that.
Outstanding. You've been
For the next 35 years.
Amen. Amen. This has been a great show. Thank you both for your heart and your wisdom. We're going to leave you with the website, which again is IWFDallas.org. Dr. Hicks and Dr. Ross, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you,
wonderful.
Jeff.
Thank you so much.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.